Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in our webinar, Lights, Camera Learning. For our webinar, we will be exploring educational uses of audio and video tools. There are many benefits to using audiovisual in the classroom or a meeting, and by adding these tools to your presentations, you'll be creating more engaging interactions, enabling distance learning through online classrooms, and exposing students to technology that will teach them valuable skills they'll be able to use later in their lives. So we'll be focusing on 4 different audiovisual tools today. We'll be focusing on Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic, WeVideo, and Audacity. And I will be starting the demonstration with Zoom. Myself, Crystal Fox, I'm a director of graduate admissions and an avid user of Zoom, mostly as a participant, but in some cases a host. And then our next presenter is Angelina Valvona. She's a 10th, 11th, and 12th grade English teacher and mentor at the Jefferson County Public School in Colorado, and she'll be presenting on Screencast-O-Matic. Next is Jennifer Richards. She's a project support and technology liaison for elementary schools in the Cherry Creek District, and she'll be showing us WeVideo. And then our last presenter is Travis Lee. He is a Disabilities and Computing Coordinator in the Office of Information Technology at UCLA, and he will be showing us Audacity. So for our learning objectives today, whether you're using Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic, or WeVideo, or Audacity, or any audiovisual tool, it is our goal today that you'll be able to experiment with several visual tools so that it will enhance your presentations and your online presentations to your curriculum or your ideas meetings. And that after today, you'll be able to articulate the benefits of using various audio and visual tools. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first presentation of Zoom. So before we go into the presentation and the demonstration itself, how many of you have used Zoom before? And if you could just go use the chat box to be able to answer the question, that would be very helpful. Okay, so it sounds to me like there's a lot of people here who are saying, yes, they've used it. They've attended a couple meetings. So it sounds like this will probably be a lot of review for most of you, but in some cases, maybe you just haven't done some of these things. So we'll go ahead and get going here. And so basically, if you are not familiar with Zoom or it's pretty new to you, Zoom is a video conferencing tool for meetings in online classrooms. It's free to sign up, and with a free subscription, you get a lot of different features. For example, you have unlimited use of this meeting space with up to 100 participants. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. It has a lot of interactive tools, such as chat that we just used a moment ago, and then polls, which I'm going to be showing you today how to create a poll, annotate, screen share, which we're currently doing right now. And then one of the better tools is the recording capability. If, for instance, someone's not able to attend one of your meetings or presentations, then it's nice to be able to record that meeting and have them review it at a later time when it's more convenient for them. So the objectives I have for today's very short demonstration of Zoom is that you first know how to log into Zoom, and then just schedule a meeting using basic meeting settings and how to create a poll. And as I mentioned before, if you're not able to go along with this demonstration, please use your handout, and you can use it at a later time when it is more convenient for you. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is log into Zoom. So in order to do that, you would just go to www.zoom.us.com and either sign in with your credentials, or you can sign up for free. And it's pretty straightforward. There's not any kind of trial period or credit cards you're going to have to use. It's a very straightforward sign up situation. So another chat question for everyone. Why would creating, for instance, a poll in Zoom or any other kind of online meeting be beneficial when you're creating any kind of, like I said, online meeting space? So if you want to use chat just to answer that question, that would be great. Interaction with audience, yes. Great, ready to gain feedback. That's wonderful. You can see what other experiences are, gain information, data collection. Exactly. So that's, most thing is like interaction, it's data collection, it's understanding your audience. And so this is another way to engage with your audience members. And so being able to close the virtual gap. Exactly. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started with the demonstration so that we can show you again how to create a meeting and then also how to create a poll. Okay, now that you have signed into the Zoom, let's go ahead and schedule a meeting. To schedule a meeting, you would simply click on Meetings in the left navigation bar, and then click on Schedule New Meeting. It's that simple. Now I'm going to show you some basic configurations for your meeting. First you need to do is create a topic. Create any topic. This could be a test meeting, or this could be the meeting that you intend to put on for your future participants, for a future webinar, or for a future class. Then you can also add a description. That's completely optional and up to you. Then you want to choose, when do you want to have this meeting? How long do you want to have this meeting? What time zone do you want to have this meeting? Is it going to be in the time zone do you live in, or is it going to be in a time zone that's specific? Maybe it's an Eastern Standard Time zone. You can make those changes here. Then you're going to want to decide, is it a reoccurring meeting? Is it something that you're going to be meeting on a weekly basis for a classroom or for a staff meeting? Is it required for your participants, for your attendees, to register for the meeting? If you are going to have your attendees register for the meeting, you would simply click on you would simply check the box, and then your registrants will receive a link with the ability to register for your meeting. Then you're going to want to decide for video. Do you want the video to automatically turn on for yourself, or do you want to have that off when the webinar or classroom begins? Do you want your participants' video to be on or off when the classroom or webinar begins? In my case, I would like to turn off video for both. Then for audio, in this case, it's already checked for both. That's a good practice because some people do not have computer audio, so they might have to use a telephone number, use their telephone or their mobile phone in order to be able to hear your presentation. Additional meeting options that you can choose are, do you want to have this meeting have a password? If you do, you would simply check this box, enter your password. Make sure that you let your webinar participants know about your password before they try to join. Next is enable join before host. As you can see, this is best practice. It is ideal that your participants will be able to join your meeting before you arrive. Some cases, your participants might arrive 5 or 10 minutes early, and so you want to already give them an opportunity to join your meeting. If you do not want them to join the meeting before you arrive, then you will uncheck this box, and it is best practice then that you would have an enable waiting room. The waiting room will allow you to have your guests, have your participants stay in a room before you arrive. Once you have arrived, then you want to make sure that you open that door so your participants can join your webinar. In this case, we're going to go ahead and allow them to join before I do. You can also then decide whether you want to mute your participants upon entry. This is also best practice. Again, if you have someone that's on the phone or on their computer and there might be some background noise, or maybe somebody joins the meeting a little late, that way there is no disruption to your presentation. You can also decide to use a personal meeting ID. Or if you'd like, you can have the meeting recorded automatically on your local computer. You can also do this once you start the webinar manually. If you have alternative hosts, you would just enter this data here. Then you go ahead and save. Lastly, I'm going to show you how to create a poll. The reason why polls and other interactions while you're presenting through a webinar is important so that you can be interactive with your attendees and they can feel like they're a part of the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and add a poll. In this case, I'm going to give the title of the poll as color. I'm going to type in my question, and my question is, what is your favorite color? Now I'm going to decide, do I want my attendees to choose more than one option? In this case, I'm going to say that this is a single choice question. So I'm going to put my answers in here. And now that I have added all of my answers, I'm going to go ahead and save. If I have additional questions, I can add them here. Once I've added all of my questions, I will save. And at the bottom, you'll see that for this particular webinar, I have this poll that I will use for my audience members once the webinar begins. Now that's how you sign into Zoom. That's how you schedule a meeting, configure a basic meeting, and create a poll. Great. So overall, Zoom is a tool that you can use to enable distance learning and create more interactive and engaging online classrooms or meetings. So now for our next presentation, I'm going to turn this over to Angelina Valvona, who will be articulating the benefits of our next audiovisual tool, Screencast-O-Matic.
Thank you, Crystal. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you in just a second. All right. So we're going to continue by exploring Screencast-O-Matic software. Remember that our whole goal is for you to be able to create more engaging interaction with your kiddos, enable distance learning, and then expose students to technology that they may have not already had. So quick reminder about the handout. The Screencast-O-Matic section starts on page 4. So when we get to the demo part, you can go ahead and turn to that if you have that available for yourself. And then if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask them in chat, but do know that we will have that Q&A session that Crystal already mentioned at the end. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As we move through this segment, I would like for you to be thinking about ideas that you might have for how you can use the Screencast-O-Matic software in your future. And then we'll come together at the end and share those ideas. All right, so the objective for this segment is to ensure that you can articulate the benefits of using the Screencast-O-Matic software for education, and then that you can also use the software with ease, especially if you have that handout there for you. If you didn't already know, the screencasting software is a screen recorder. One thing that you do need to know is that it does require a download. What I can tell you though is that my district actually packages it for student and teacher computers. So in that case, it's pretty safe because they don't really let us download anything. So if they're using it, you're pretty much good to go. And then also it's really user-friendly and intuitive. So that's another reason I really like the software. So Crystal is going to go ahead and open up a poll for us. And the purpose for the poll is just to find out your familiarity with screencasting in general and what programs you might use on your own. And then as soon as you're done, she will share the poll with us. All right. So it's looking like about 50-50 when it comes to using screencasting software before. Those of you who have used Screencast-O-Matic software itself is pretty little, so that's good that we're going to take you through this demo. And then it looks like a lot of people are using Google Hangouts, Adobe Presenter, Camtasia, and Adobe Captivate. So thank you for responding to that. I appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So Screencast-O-Matic, I want to just let you know how I use the software myself. So I use it a lot for punctuation mini lessons. So it's a lot easier for students to be able to hear me talking, read what's on my screen, and then understand as opposed to just trying to learn it on their own. I also use it for creating special announcements and then for introducing more complicated projects. And one of the reasons I do this is because we have an attendance rate of about 70%. So I have to be able to have access for my students to have the information when they are not with me. So when they're at home, they can get it on the LMS that they're using, and then be able to come into class and feel a little bit more confident. The other thing too is that if I'm working with somebody when they are able to come to class, maybe a couple days later, they can go ahead, watch the video, and then feel comfortable and know kind of where we all are. And then as soon as I'm done helping other students, I can go ahead and answer any questions that they have. So at least it helps them get going instead of just sitting there. One other thing that I do use the software for is I like to create student exemplars for my kiddos in future terms. And so if they've done a presentation, a digital presentation, I will go ahead and screencast their presentation, and then I can show that to them they can have access to it through YouTube, which I really like about the software itself. And then you'll notice on your screen that Screencast-O-Matic's website actually tells you the reasons that they think that their software is beneficial. So you see the flipped and buttoned learning, teacher to student mentorship, lecture capture, student assignments, and then video announcements. All right, so I personally, I have two different accounts. I have a free account and then I have an upgraded account. The upgraded account that I have is a little bit different than the one that you see on your screen. So I'm just going to tell you really quickly about the free account. The free account is really nice because in general, screencasting allows you to make your screen as big or as small as you want. And then it allows you 15 minutes of recording time, which I think is pretty nice because these days our attention spans are just getting shorter and shorter. So 15 minutes actually works out just fine. And then one thing that you do need to know though is that the audio that's coming from your mic is the only thing that's getting picked up with a free account. So if you want to be able to record the computer's sound, you would need to have an upgraded account. So for instance, you might have a presentation that your kiddos have done and they're using a YouTube video within that presentation. You're going to have the upgraded account in order to pull that sound from the video. With the Solo Deluxe plan for teachers that I mentioned here on the slide, it wasn't available when I first started. So I have a different account. But with this one, it's so nice because it actually gives you access to all their video editing tools. You have access to putting music on your account, on your video, and then you also have the longer recording ability than the 15 minutes that they provide. And then they have a whole bunch of other options too for other accounts, even in the corporate world. So we are going to go ahead and get started with the demo. Remember, page 4 on your handout is where the Screencast-O-Matic demo starts.
Screencast-O-Matic is as easy as this. First, I'm going to type screencast-o-matic.com into my browser. Remember that I've already downloaded the software, which doesn't take too long. Then I'm going to come over to the right-hand side and click Login. I'm going to type in my email address, my password, and click this blue Login button at the bottom. This is my account. All I have to do now is hit my Start Recorder button on the left. Then Then I'm going to click on this open screen recorder that popped up. And then I'm going to wait for my box to open up. Once my recording box opens up, you'll notice that the toolbar is over here on the left. And then you have this recording box. It's going to allow you to choose if you want to record your screen, your webcam, or both. You'll also notice that my mic is already being picked up by the system. Remember that your computer audio is not going to record unless you have an upgraded account. There's more decisions I can make in this preferences space when I click on that, but I don't usually ever touch that. So I'm going to simply get rid of this box so that it's out of my way by clicking the X on the right-hand side. And then I can size my screen however I want by dragging in the corners or widening them. I can also bring down my screen by clicking on the line and dragging it on the top, bottom, left, and right. Once I'm all ready to go and I feel like my screen is in a good position, I'm going to click record over here on the left-hand side with the big red button. And then I love that it has the countdown for me. And then it's immediately going to start recording after that countdown ends. I always test my volume obviously first. And then I also like to record in sections. So I'll record about 10 to 15 seconds at a time. And then I'll click my pause button once I'm done with a section. And then I can play back whatever I've just recorded by hitting this play button. And then when I'm ready to start my next section, I just hit that red record button again, and then my countdown starts again, and then I'm ready to go. One thing that I like about this system is that if I accidentally messed up right here, I would click pause on that second section I just did, and I can always seek back so that I can truncate back to that first section I did. And then for the purposes of this, I'm already done. So I'm going to click my done. And then I'm going to go to save my video. You'll notice over here on the right-hand side, your options box pops up. So I can save the video to my computer, to the Screencast-O-Matic system, or to YouTube. I often throw my video in the system, and then I can decide if I'm going to put it in YouTube later on or not. So I'm going to go ahead and record and upload into my system. And I can change my account if I have multiple accounts in Screencast-O-Matic. I can title my recording. So I'm going to title this one Test. And then I scroll down towards the bottom and I click the green Publish button. And then depending upon how long your video is, it could take a couple minutes, it could take 10 minutes. This one's really short, so it's only going to take a couple seconds. And then once it's all ready to go, I can then open my upload, I can copy my link, or I can just click OK and it will show me where my video is. And then you'll notice my video is right here. And it saves back for forever, so I've been doing this for years. You'll see all my videos there. And then you're all done.
All right, so that's it. You can really, after that, just place your videos wherever you want them to go. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on. And I can use this software really easily because I've been using it for years, but I'm kind of interested in what you guys think. So if you can answer in chat for me how easy you think the software would be to use on your own, and then also with that handout that you're provided, I would greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and type in chat. Okay, good. Joni says it seemed very straightforward. Nice, user-friendly, yeah, absolutely. Okay, awesome. So to wrap this up really quickly, I promised you that we would start sharing our ideas. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share and open up the whiteboard for us. And we're gonna go ahead and share our ideas in the whiteboard. Okay, if you've never used the whiteboard before, just know that you can click on the T at the top and start typing, or you can just use the draw button and it will allow you to start writing with your mouse. So ideas for how you think you can use the software in your future, what can kiddos do with it, anything like that would be great. So demos is one. Use it to teach how to use simple software? Absolutely. So how-to videos for sure. And then remember that I already mentioned that I use it for mini lessons. I also have kids create their own demos. So even just last week, I had them create demos of how to do a braid for their hair, skin, and nails class for people on YouTube, and how they could use it for different hairdos. So yeah, micro learning videos, absolutely. So these are all great answers. Again, another way that I use it is for creating those special announcements that can be really quick. I have a team that I'm on that's project-based learning team, and that's how we introduce our projects to our kiddos. So I love your ideas. Thank you so much for participating with me. I'll see you again soon in the Q&A session, and I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and turn it over to Jennifer. Thank you so much, guys.
Great. Thank you, Angelina. So our next demonstration will be with Jennifer Richards, and she's going to show us how to use WeVideo, a video editing tool that will really enhance your online video demonstration.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see so many of you out on a Saturday. I know it's hard sometimes, but you know, it's great to get a little bit of this information along with your fun you're going to have this weekend. So I'm glad to see you here. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about video editing. So this is the next step in our journey as we try to create more engaging interactions while we teach with technology and strengthen classrooms, workplace, and distant learning environments. So you may have videos of your web meetings and the screencasting or other video captures that you may have already created, but you're like, what do I do next with it? Well, I'm here to tell you about one tool that you can use to get some professional looking products. In my current position in the Cherry Creek School District, at the elementary level, I help teachers with new innovative projects in their classrooms. And I, excuse me, I also go into classrooms and I assist students as they work on their projects. And one type of project that I see a lot is student produced videos. That's a way to present content that a lot of kids like to do. The teachers enjoy watching it, parents enjoy watching it, and it's very engaging for all the kids. So do any of you watch videos created by regular people, not just the big studios? So there's probably a few of you nodding, a few of you raising your hands. I'm going to guess that most, if not all of you, have at one point in the past week watched at least one. Audiences young and old watch videos on file sharing sites like YouTube. YouTube's very popular. There's a few others, but that's probably the one where everybody puts their things, and it's really entertaining to watch a lot of videos there sometimes. It is also how people are learning today. And as creators of educational content, many of you probably want to create polished videos, not only for classroom use, but also for larger online audiences. And audiences desire great content, but they also want something that looks appealing. So before we go any further here, I want to just get a feel for if you have edited videos before and what tools that you use to edit the video. So you can go ahead and type it in chat and let me know what ones you are familiar with. Camtasia, that's a great one. VideoPad, nice, yes. iMovie. iMovie's popular, especially because it comes standard on iPhones where a lot of people like to film. Splice, that's an interesting one. There's a lot of them out there, and they range from very simple screen, you know, throwing things together really simply. There's ones like Adobe Premiere where you can put together something really great with a lot of audio and video content also added into it. So one tool that is widely used in our school district, and it's become more popular just this past year, we've gotten a lot of teachers on board with it, is called WeVideo. And so for those of you that don't know about WeVideo, it's a video editing program that allows users to produce a final product that could include soundtracks, voiceovers, animated titles, and green screen elements. So what makes this software great for use in school or by novice users? Well, first, it's web-based, so you do not have to download any software. You can just go right to the browser and do all of your capture and creation in the browser. It's also easy to use. I've worked with students as young as 2nd grade, and they have been able to put together a very simple video with maybe a title screen and maybe some music in the background. Audio and video components can be recorded right into the software, which saves time, and it's great for younger users that you don't have to tell them how to save it to one file and then import it into it. It makes it pretty simple. And the ability to have multiple users collaborate on projects. They can do it from home, school, the office. That makes it stand out from a lot of other projects like programs like iMovie. And also, if you have the paid version, you can also have access to music you can play in your background. They do have a lot of stock images that you can import into your videos. So what I did, I want to tell you a little more about WeVideo. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a video to show you some features of it. And I created this video entirely in WeVideo, except for the screen captures that I imported into it. And I got it all the elements, the screens, the animation movements, the music, everything is what is in the software. The images and the video in the video and their corresponding instructions you can find on your handout, and that starts on page 8. So if you want to follow along with the video, as if that's something you would like to do, or you can look at it later. And the link to this video is also found on page 10. So if you want to go back later and you want to watch this video again with some of these features, then you can go ahead and just follow that link and you should be able to do it.
Let's get started by going to www.wevideo.com. When you go to the WeVideo homepage, you have the option of signing up for either a free account or a paid one. After logging into your account, you will come to the dashboard. The dashboard page contains templates and your most recent projects. Along the top banner, you can see links to 5 different pages with tools to create and manage projects, groups, and media content. In the dark gray bar on the left of this page is a button students or other collaborators can use to join your project. Clicking on the groups link at the top of this page will bring us to this next input page. This form allows you to create a new group and select people to add to it. You can also assign them lead privileges or only give them user access. Going back to the main page, the project tab is next on the top menu. On the project page, you will find all of your projects and have the ability to create a new project by clicking on the blue plus in the bottom right of the screen. When creating a new project, this prompt will appear. This is where you choose which type of project collaboration or sharing you want. Personal is pretty self-explanatory. If you and only you are working on the project, then this is the one to choose. Collaborative is the best option if multiple people will be working on the same video edits and adding media content. The only issue with this is only one person can be working on the project at a time. If multiple people will be making edits, team members need to schedule times to be in the project. Shared is chosen when multiple people will be making videos for a class assignment or shared topic, but each person or group will be making their own video by themselves. The creator of the project can pull in media that can be shared and used by all users, and the creator can see all of the videos in the project. This is perfect for a teacher who can keep track of students' progress with their assignment. After creating a project and selecting it from your dashboard or projects page, this is the video editing timeline that appears. At the top left of the page is a menu of various options to use while working on a video. The star is the main page, where you can search for media in the extensive library of images, videos, and audio clips. The file folder with the star is where you can manage your media you are pulling into your project. The square with the A is the way to add text to the screen. The square with the music node allows you to select music to use in your video. The multicolored square is transitions. The square with the mountains gives you the option of graphics such as backgrounds, frames, and overlays. I want to show you what you will see when selecting the Media tab, which is the file folder with the star. This is what you will see on the Media page. What I have circled are action buttons that will assist in uploading media to your project. If you have images or other media you want to upload from your computer or Google Drive, you would click on the green cloud. The red dot enables you to record a video right from the device that you are running WeVideo on. Once recorded, the video automatically goes into your timeline. The microphone button is for recording audio voiceovers. Recording using these buttons is especially useful with younger students who might have difficulty saving and retrieving audio or video files from other devices and moving them into WeVideo. One main feature that schools utilize in WeVideo is green screen. After double-clicking on a video in your timeline, this editing page opens. From this page, you can change size and position of elements in the video. We are going to click on the tab of the square with the person in the middle. This is located right under the main WeVideo menu bar at the top of the page. To enable the green screen feature, you would click on the dropper, click on the video portion that is green, and the color will show up in the color box. After saving this and adding a background image to the timeline, you now have two videos layered as you see here.
All right. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I like the little animated title things they have too. That kind of gives you a little fancier options there, and they have a lot of things in the tool menu where you can pick different text and different movements. We're going to go here to the next slide. One of the reasons why so many schools and businesses are using and purchasing license is that it's pretty easy to use. And like you saw with that video, you can add some cool features to it without having to have a lot of knowledge. You can just drop and drag features into it. I hope my presentation today has inspired you to try a project in WeVideo. And in the chat right now, is there anybody who wants to share anything that they've thought about where they were watching it and anything that's come to their mind that they think that they might be able to do with WeVideo? Student projects, that's great. Yes, especially if you have students with varying levels of not knowing how to use these type of tools. Digital storytelling is also great. The green screen feature is actually really cool. The kids love it, and they love to see how all of a sudden they pick an image and all of a sudden it's behind them when you move it all together. Senior videos, reflections, those are great ideas. So I want to thank you today for your active participation, and I am going to go ahead and turn this back over to Crystal.
Yes, thanks.
She will go ahead and take over.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. And now for our final presentation, Travis Lee will be showing us how to use Audacity, another tool that will enhance your online demonstration.
All right. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is, I know this is I think one of the last presentations for this class. And I'd like to kind of start the conversation kind of framing education in its current state and why you might want to think about using audio-only formats in your classes, either K-12 or in higher education. I come from UCLA, which is a school that is mainly focused on research, but also has we're also trying to encourage our faculty to use more engaging teaching methodologies and universal design for learning in their classrooms. I started really encouraging UCLA faculty to do this when I started teaching a class in the disability studies minor at UCLA, and I'd look out into the crowd and I would see that there are so many different types of learners, especially in California and higher education in general in public schools. There's racial diversity, socioeconomic diversity. There's diversity in terms of their neurodiversity, as well as diversity of disabilities. And that's when I realized that why are we trying to teach our students using one methodology when there are so many different types of learners? Each of our learners are very different. Some of them are English language learners. So what I've been trying to encourage faculty to do is try to diversify their offerings. So if they do only like video lecture, to try to include audio formats, try to do more experiential learning. And that's all in line with something called universal design for learning, which is really looking at ways to engage all types of learners. And audio only formats is a really great way to do that. Myself, having grown up and someone with dyslexia, it's been really difficult for me at times in my education to, like, when I had tons of reading and I wasn't offered any other formats. And I think audio only formats are great for those types of learners with dyslexia and different disabilities, but also for learners who are on the go or learners who have, long commutes. So I'm going to go into my deck now, and we're going to talk a little bit about audio only formats. Okay, so I'm going to share. Okay. All right. So audio only formats in education usually take the form of podcasts. So podcasts have become a really great way to distribute information. And in the current, in the year 2019 where we are, we have like a huge number of podcasts. Like just 5 years ago, podcasting was still not quite the size as it is today. I've been a huge fan of podcasts for over 10 years now. But I realized that audio-only formats are very useful in education as well. And I wanted you to think about like how you learn best and how you as a learner want to engage with material. So I asked this question: if you wanted to learn about the major themes in the HBO show Game of Thrones, what references would you use? Answer in chat. So there's Wikipedia, there's YouTube, there's books, entire books written about Game of Thrones. There's magazine articles, blogs, and podcasts. So I know there's a lot of fans of Game of Thrones out there. And what references do you use? I mean, I watch YouTube. I read some blogs as well because I try to get the fan theories. And so we see all different types. Okay, great. Yeah, YouTube, Wikipedia. Yeah, so that shows you like just in this small class environment, we have like 10 people or maybe less than 10 people. We already have people who are different in terms of what references they would use. And that shows that our students as well are using very different references in their own education. So I'm going to move now to some statistics around podcasts. So we know that there are about 144 million Americans who have listened to podcasts in 2019 alone. That's nearly 51% of this country has tuned into a podcast this year in the last 5 months. We also know that the average distance for a college commuter student is 10.2 miles. This is something that I think about a lot because, especially for our students who don't have as much money to rent a dorm space at UCLA, which is kind of expensive. They're commuting pretty far, sometimes from the valley, the San Fernando Valley, which is 10 miles away. And that 10-mile commute could be 45 minutes both ways, right? So you're talking about an hour and a half in the car. And this is time that was usually not wasted, but listening to music, doing other things. But you could also insert instruction during that commute time. So I really want you guys to think about how are your students using their time and encouraging them to use the downtime, what we would consider downtime, as time for education. We also know that about 56% of podcast listeners are male. So you got to think about, it does skew male, and YouTube as well skews young and male as well. So think about the demographics and think about the types of engagements you want to use and the diversity that you want to implement in your online courses. We also know that there are 525,000 active shows with 18 million episodes. There is so much content out there. And now I'm going to show you how to contribute to the content creator community essentially. So you in this presentation, you're going to be able to learn how to make your own podcast and upload it to a podcast hosting software. Okay. So I have one more question for you, which is answer in chat. What is your favorite podcast? I mean, what do you guys listen to? Here are some of the top podcasts on the iTunes app, which is the podcasting app. I've listened to a couple of these: S-Town, Pod Save America. There's political podcasts. S-Town was actually kind of an NPR production. It's kind of storytelling. So I want to see what kind of podcast do you guys listen to? Okay, yes. So like this American Life. All right. So, so I can see there's people who definitely listen to podcasts in this classroom, and that's great. We have a whole diversity of podcasting. All right. So here we see there's the free audio mixing tools. So the first thing you want to do when you're creating a podcast is, well, obviously think of a theme. What are you teaching? What is your subject matter? What story? What narrative are you telling? And then once you decide on the story you want to tell, you have to decide on the mixing tools, the audio mixing tools. Here are 3 mixing tools that are free. Today we're going to be talking about Audacity, which is most likely the largest free audio editing software available online. There's also Shampoo Burning Studio and Acoustica. These are other free softwares, but today we're going to talk about Audacity. It's very low to the ground, super easy to download, and super easy to get started with your own podcast. Okay. And here are the audio hosting options: SoundCloud, Lisbon Radio, Buzzsprout, and Apple Podcasts. So think about where you also want to host. Apple Podcasts is super competitive. It's really hard to get your podcast listed high on there. SoundCloud is more for musical podcasts. And so you think about what platform you want to host your podcast in. But today we're gonna upload to SoundCloud, which is one of the most popular hosting options. All right, yeah, some good one. All right, so here are learning objectives today. Once we get into the kind of screencast part, we're gonna learn to download Audacity, open Audacity. We're gonna record your voice in Audacity. We're gonna add a musical track. I think it's very important to not just have your voice, and in a podcast to try to add sound effects, try to add music, try to add engagement, create an entire soundscape for your podcast. Will create better engagement and better interest from the audience as well. And lastly, we're going to export your file and upload to a hosting platform. This is going to be done in webcast format. All right, so we're going to go now to how to download and open Audacity. Hold on, I'm going to just share audio sound. Okay, here we go. The first step in creating a podcast is downloading a audio software. The first step in creating a podcast is going to be downloading Audacity, which is the program that we are using to edit audio. So just go to the Google search bar and click and type Audacity. Download. In my case, it's Mac, so go ahead and click Mac. You're gonna move it into applications. And then you're gonna open Audacity just by double clicking. Open. All right, so here is the program, Audacity. And that is how you open. So basically what you want to do is just do a Google search for Audacity and download the software. It's completely free. There's no pop-ups or plugins or anything like that. So it should be relatively simple for both Windows and Mac users. The first step in creating a podcast. Now we're going to move to the next. Okay, now we're going to show you how to edit the file. Basically, it's a very simple editing interface. What you do is kind of highlight areas of your WAV file, and then you start editing it. So I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to edit the podcast or record the podcast. Hi, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do your first recording using Audacity. It's quite simple. I'm also going to show you also how to do a little bit of editing in your file and also increase the volume or the audio levels. So go ahead and click record, audio check. You can see that the WAV files are coming in and looks good. So welcome to our class. which is called Lights, Camera, Learning. Today we're going to be talking about how to improve your educational experiences for your students using audio and video software. I'm going to press stop, and you can see that the file's there. I'm going to go to the front of the file. Let's go ahead and press play. Audio check. You can see that the WAV file. It sounds pretty good. I know it's a little bit low because you ideally want to hit the levels at about 0.5 and negative 0.5. So I'm going to go ahead and click select all by clicking Control A and then Effect. We're going to amplify that by approximately, I think we'll start with 10 decibel. Let's just go with that. That's looking a lot better. I'm going to trim you could just, I'm going to go ahead and press play. Audio check. You can see that the WAV files are coming in, okay, so I'm gonna delete some of those pauses. So I'm gonna delete this pause right here, highlight, and just click delete. And this is a kind of a long pause here too. I'm gonna delete this out, and I'm gonna listen to this last side. I'm gonna press. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. So that's how you edit your file. You edit by just like highlighting the area that you want to be clipped and just press delete. So a lot of the interface is really intuitive in terms of like just highlighting, dragging and dropping, and just like making the adjustments with the tools. So I'm going to move on to the next slide now. Hi. This is exporting from Audacity. All right, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add music to your podcast, as well as export and get it ready for upload to the podcasting platform. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen. Audio check. You can see that the WAV files are coming in, all right, so that's the podcast. I'm going to insert a music track. So go to File, Import, Audio. Then you're going to go to just find an audio track that you want. I have this no copyright music. You can download from YouTube or anywhere else as no copyright music. And you can see that actually this song is quite long. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this piece. Trim that out. All right, so I trimmed out the audio piece. It's also pretty loud. I can just see with my eyes that that it's a little too loud. So we're gonna amplify it, and we're gonna reduce the audio level. Okay, so out of respect for time, I'm going to move to the next one, which is I wanted to show you guys how to do the export, but I think it's more important that we show how to do the upload to SoundCloud. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Share. Okay, so the last step in creating a podcast is actually uploading. The musical piece is kind of important, but you don't really need to know that. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to upload your podcast to SoundCloud. This is a pretty basic audio hosting website. Once you create an account, you just click Upload, choose your file. In this case, it is draftpodcast.wave, and you can name it. Sorry. Hold on. I don't know why it's not playing. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to upload your podcast to SoundCloud. This is a pretty basic audio hosting website. Once you create an account, you just click Upload, choose your file. In this case, it is draftpodcast.wave. And you can name it, the genre. Right now, I'm going to just put... Okay, so basically, you just upload to SoundCloud and you can share the URL with your friends. We're right against 11 o'clock, so I want to respect people's time for Q&A. What I will close with this is that when you create a podcast, it's very important to think about, the subject matter. Whether or not your students will be engaged with the subject is probably paramount. It's probably the most important. But having good audio quality as well as a platform that is easy to access is also important. I've seen people upload directly to Canvas as well for audio only formats. From an accessibility standpoint, if you have a hard of hearing or deaf students in your class, it's really important also to provide a transcript or which is similar to a caption file for a video. So thank you for joining me today for the audio only format. Sorry, we're right against the hour, so I'm gonna pass it back to Crystal, who is gonna close us out.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Travis. And at this point, if you have any questions, please ask them now. I'll be super happy to answer them for you. So if you want to just use the chat for any questions that you might have.
So Amanda, to answer your question, Screencast-O-Matic does have captioning, so you do have to have the upgraded account, and the upgraded account is about $18 a year, so it's really not that expensive. But in order to do the captioning, yeah, upgrade is necessary.
Okay. All right. So thank you all for joining us today. Again, just to recap, we showed you 4 different popular audiovisual tools that were Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic, WeVideo, and Audio Audacity. And by adding any of these tools to your presentations, whether in the classroom or in a meeting, will provide additional interaction, expose students to technology, and enable distance learning. So we hope that you'll take our handout listed here and use these tools on your own. And then also, if you could help us out with filling out our survey, that would be great. We'd really appreciate it. And again, thank you for your time. Have a great Saturday. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Enjoy your summer. I know this is one of the last this is the last times we're going to be together.
Okay.
We'll hang out for another 10 minutes to answer questions. If you have any questions about the software, about how to implement audio and visual in the classroom.
And if you're filling out the evaluation for us, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it.